Live from Lagos, this is Lunchtime Politics, where we unpack some of the biggest political stories. I am Kelly Egiga. Let's check out our radar this hour. Federal government secures release of 130 kidnapped school children whisked away by gunmen from the St. Mary's Primary Secondary School in Niger State. Plus, on the program, ICPC summons billionaire Aliko Dangote following his petition against Ahmed Farouk, former managing director of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, over alleged corruption. Lunchtime Politics starts right now. Thanks indeed for joining us here on the program. Wherever you're watching from around the world, we are live from our global headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria. I am Kelly, standing in for Jeffrey for the next 2 weeks. Well, today on the program, we get to spotlight Nigeria's local government autonomy. And that's because President Bola Tinubu, just a few days ago, precisely on Friday, over the weekend, had some really very strong words for the governors of the states, 36 states, and will bring you some of the words of Mr. President. In fact, it does appear that some of those words appear like a threat to the governor. We'll tell you all about it in just a moment. But let's walk you through some of the stories we have for you. This hour, the federal government has secured the release of 130 kidnapped school children whisked away by gunmen from the St. Mary's Primary and Secondary School, Papiri, in Niger State. A presidential spokesman, Mr. Sunday Dare, announced this on his official X handle on Sunday. Over 300 children, teachers, and other staff members were kidnapped by the gunmen who stormed the Catholic school in the early hours of November 21. And sources said the gunmen, who arrived in large numbers, riding on over 60 motorcycles and accompanied by a van, shot the school's gatekeeper, leaving him with serious injuries. The Niger attack was the latest in a series of abductions involving school children and came less than a week after bandits had kidnapped over 20 girls from the government's Girls Comprehensive Senior Secondary School in Maga, Kebbi State. But let's stay with some more cheering news this hour. The Catholic Diocese of Kontagora, still in Niger State, has also confirmed the release of the kidnapped staff, pupils, and students of the St. Mary's Catholic Primary and Secondary Schools in Papiri. In the letter signed by the Diocesan Secretary, Reverend Father Jatal Luka Joseph, the diocese expressed gratitude to the federal government, the Niger State government, and all other partners whose efforts and interventions contributed to the safe release of the victims. Well, away from security stories now, there's been this back and forth between Dangote and, of course, the now resigned Ahmed Farouk. And let's tell you that the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has now summoned the billionaire Aliko Dangote to appear in Abuja on Monday. That's today, following his petition against Ahmed Farouk, the former managing director of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, over alleged corruption. A source confirmed that the commission has set up a special investigative panel to handle the case. And the ICPC chairman, Dr. Musa Aliyu, instructed investigators to focus on Mr. Dangote's petition, with the billionaire expected to attend in person or be represented by his lawyer, Ugu Onoja, to present supporting evidence. Mr. Dangote's petition alleges that Mr. Ahmed misappropriated funds, including spending over $7 million on his 4 children's education in Switzerland, and undermined domestic refining by colluding with international traders through continued issuance of import licenses. But the ICPC is asking Mr. Dangote to submit all evidences, emphasizing that the probe will proceed fairly despite the resignation of Mr. Farouk. All right, so we have our eyes right there in the nation's capital, Abuja, as we wait for live feeds and updates as regards this summoning by the ICPC, summoning billionaire Aliko Dangote over allegations of corruption by the now resigned MD, Mr. Ahmed Farouk. We'll bring you up to speed as soon as we get updates from the nation's capital. To other stories now, the former Secretary General of the Pan-Yoruba Organization, Afenifere, and elder statesman, Mr. Ayo Okpadokun, says he believes that the spate of insecurity in parts of the country is a deliberate and coordinated attempts by enemies of the Nigerian state and government. Speaking on the sideline of his installation as the Grand Patron of the Christian Association of Nigeria, of our local government in Kwara State's brand, Pa Okpadokun says that bandits and insurgents are being sponsored by some powerful individuals in the country.
The Nigerian security situation is not only worrisome, but we have warned those in government far before President Bola Tinubu ahead, that a situation where non-state agents were becoming much more powerful, much more resourced with terribly powerful ammunitions and arsenals than state coercive instruments was too dangerous to allow to fester, but they never listened. What they've been doing over time, which has not paid off, and it cannot pay off. You're asking conventional army to go and confront non-conventional ragtag elements. Call them what you call them. Bandits, herdsmen. These are people, elements who are being sponsored mostly by a variety of people. Agents who want to destabilize Nigeria. The current situation is not accidental. It's a planned thing.
Well, there you go, elder statesman and former Secretary General of the Pan-Yoruba Organization, Afenifere, Pa Ayo Okpadokun. Always a joy to listen to him speak about issues of national interest. But this is Lunchtime Politics. Let's take a moment and cross over live now to the nation's capital, Abuja, where we understand the Ministry of Information is holding a press briefing there to brief Nigerians on developments and updates from the current administration. You see the Minister of Information there, Mohammed Idris, speaking with pressmen.
Of 2025, demonstrating resilient and sustained expansion in the non-oil sector. Significantly, headline inflation has now declined for 8 consecutive months to stand at 14.45% in November 2025. Food inflation, as you also know, is also on a steady downward trend. Our external reserves have strengthened to approximately $44.56 billion, providing a robust buffer that stabilizes our currency and assures international investors of the seriousness of this administration to reposition its economy. Nigeria has recorded a trade surplus also in 2025 of 6.69 trillion in the third quarter of 2025, which represents a 27.29% growth year on year. The most recent Purchasing Managers Index, what is called the PMI data, an important measure of business sentiment, indicates that Nigeria now has seen 12 consecutive months of expansion in economic activities. 12 consecutive months. On March 4, 2025, Nigeria recorded a maximum daily energy of 128.3 megawatt hours nationwide, the highest ever in the history of this country. This has happened in March of 2025. Also in the power sector, 2025 saw the kickoff of the presidential metering initiative, as well as the issuance of the first bond under the presidential power sector debt reduction program, the single largest coordinated financial intervention in the history of the power sector in this country. Also, and this is very important, a massively oversubscribed Eurobond issuance, attracting orders amounting to a 400% increase of the target of $2.3 billion US dollars. The target was $2.3 billion. We had a 400% oversubscription of that, demonstrating a strong investor confidence in our macroeconomic reforms. Also this year, Nigeria exited the Financial Action Task Force grey list, the FATF. Now, this reflects a sustained and coordinated reforms in combating money laundering, terrorist financing, and other financial crimes, and marking the start of a new reputational and operational chapter to our financial sector. This is very important. In the last few years, Nigeria has been under that watch list of the Financial Action Task Force. Now, what has that done to our economy? It has limited our capacity to trade internationally and also affected our own reputation as a country to do business with other people around the world. That is now a thing of the past. President Tinubu in 2025 has also approved the recapitalization of the Bank of Agriculture to the tune of 1.5 trillion naira. This is the biggest single boost to agricultural financing in our recent history. $1.5 trillion to the Bank of Agriculture. We committed to deploying over 1.5 trillion naira investments in road infrastructure in 2025 alone, the largest such commitment in our nation's history, based on our firm belief that our economy cannot grow faster than the infrastructure that supports it. At the heart of this effort are 4 legacy highway projects engineered to connect every region and unlock all new economic corridors in the length and breadth of this country. And I'm going to list them now. The first one is the 750-kilometer Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, linking our entire southern coastline. There is also the 1,068-kilometer Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway that is bridging the northwest to the southwest of this country. There is also the 477-kilometer Trans-Saharan Highway that traverses from Calabar to the FCT here. There is also the 422-kilometer Akwanga-Jos Bauchi-Gombe Expressway, integrating the north-central and the northeastern part of this country. These are not conventional roads. They are being built with reinforced concrete pavement, designed to last for at least 50 to 100 years, drastically cutting down the cost of maintenance that is associated with the use of asphalt. Also in 2025, there has been also the strong attempt by the administration to empower the next generation of Nigerians. For our young people, 2025 has been a bumper year in targeted and catalytic policy making implementation plan. The first one is Nigeria Education Nel Fund, the popular Nel Fund, which has now supported over 788,000 Nigerian students with interest-free loans and stipends.
Well, there you go. You've been listening to the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris, briefing Nigerians there on the end-of-year achievement by the administration of President Bola Tinubu. And just a moment ago, he had to mention some of the landmark projects by this current administration. The Lagos-Calabar Super Highway or Coastal Highway was mentioned, the Sokoto-Badagry Highway, which is going to connect the northwest and the southwest, and the Trans-Sahara Highway, which will connect Calabar and the FCT, as well as the Kwanga Highway as well. These indeed are historic landmark projects, and the minister there briefing Nigerians on updates on some of these projects. This is Lunchtime Politics. Spotlight today is on Nigeria's local government autonomy. We're back in just a moment as we get some perspectives in Delta states, where we'll be speaking with a local government chairman. Please stay with us. We're back in just a moment. We're back. This is Lunchtime Politics. Let's bring you more stories this hour as we enter the festive season. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetoku, is asking Nigerians to join hands with security agencies to enhance security during and after the season. Speaking of the need for community cooperation in policing as a means of ending banditry amongst other crimes, the IGP is also asking Nigerians to shun fake news. The police boss is in high hope for better security in 2026.
The months to come before we prepare. We have been preparing for this period long before now. Our commands have been instructed to put in place adequate security measures to guarantee that the Christmas, the festive period, will be celebrated by all Nigerians hitch-free. Security is not something that is provided in silos. We must be in synergy with other security agencies and with all the communities in Nigeria. For us to secure this country, we must all come together. We must all believe in ourselves. And we must shun fake news. Enough of falsehood. When people spread falsehood against security institutions that are providing security, they are weakening the resolve of the nation. So let us all be committed to saying the truth about security agencies who are taking risk and providing security for the country.
Nigeria's IGP, Kayode Egbetoku. This is Lunchtime Politics. Let's get to head to that conversation now around Nigeria's local government autonomy and the question of implementation. Despite the historic and landmark judgment from the Supreme Court, we're joined this hour by Mr. Vincent Oyibode, who is the chairman of Udu Local Government Area in Delta State. Mr. Oyibode, thank you indeed for agreeing to talk to us on the program. But just before we get into the conversation, let's get to hear from Mr. President, who says, I have the yam, I will cut it, or I have the knife and I have the yam, I will cut it. The words of Mr. President to the governor. Take a listen to him.
Now that you have your elections at the local government level, you are the supervisors, the vigilators, the INEC, and everything of the local government. You elected them. Nobody helped you, the governors. So since you elected them, it means you know them. You are responsible for their survival. But the Supreme Court has capped it for you again, saying give them their money directly. So if you wait for my executive order, because I have the knife, I have the yam. I will cut it. Before FAC, we do the arithmetic, we know the percentage, and I've sent it to their account. I'm just being very respectful and understanding with my governors. Otherwise, if you don't start to implement it, fact after fact, you will see
All right. The words of Mr. President there. Mr. Oyubode, thank you again for agreeing to talk to us here on the program. When you reflect on the words of Mr. President, as a local government chairman, which you are in Udu local government area in Delta States, this sounds like good news for you. Is that correct?
Very correct. Well, thank you. Good afternoon. The words of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is encouragement to Nigerians. It's what Nigerians have been yearning for. The fact remains that the Supreme Court on July 2024, passed a judgment that local governments should be granted autonomy, which is financial autonomy. The contentious issues this year, or within this period, is that why is this autonomy not implemented? It became a national discourse. So recently, in one of my lectures at University of Ife, I'm able to state that the Supreme Court judgment is an academic exercise because there are constitutional defects that need to be addressed before full implementation. But now that Mr. President said, I have the knife, I have the yam, and I can cut it, so it's hope for Nigeria. Delta State, immediately the law where the Supreme Court judgment was passed, Delta State government hands off himself from the, because according to him, I mean, my governor, Sheriff Oborevori, he said, I was a lawmaker, I supported the autonomy. And as such, I believe in the rule of law. So the state was even augmenting local government fund in Delta State before. So as it stands, Delta State is one of the local government as well that also comply with the accounts opening at the CBN. So if other governors can yield to that position that the Delta State government have complied with, I think it's going to be a way forward, because we have been told that this is the time to execute projects that is an enhanced community participation in governance. Right. So it's a welcome development, and we are watching, because 24 states need to sign, because section 6.5 need to be amended.
Yes, and that's the yes, and that's now perhaps the bone of contention here, that yes, despite the Supreme Court judgment more than 1 year ago, the constitutional amendment has to take effect for this judgment to be implemented, and that's what the governors are holding on to.
Because the governor have the right to go to court, because the Constitution provides for them on the need for them to manage the fund. Because in 2022 or thereabouts, they won a case as well on this federal allocation issue on the joint account. So the governors who have agitated for federal government not to release the money directly to the local government, they have constitutional backing. So if my governor, because he was a lawmaker, choose to comply, it's not enough to say that we have the governors who are agitating have no constitutional backing. But as a local government chairman and as a Nigerian who believe in grassroots politics, it is important that whatever that is coming from the federation account can go to the local government, as the Supreme Court judgment have made us to know that, yes, allocation should come to the state. But the Supreme Court judgment have thus far been implemented? That is the fundamental question. And why is it not implemented? If it is not implemented, why will those people who are refusing to implementing it not being taken to court for issue of court content? So these are fundamental things that need to be addressed. So it's a welcome development. The president have done well to have using that blanket statement that I have the yam, I have the knife, and I will cut it. It's a hope for Nigeria.
Well, it's a fine place to anchor our conversation with you. We cannot go any further because we are absolutely pressed for time. The words of Mr. President, only time will tell indeed if these words, if we'll stay true to his words, because remember the elections are just around the corner and we know how essential the governors are to the re-election of Mr. President. But we must anchor at this point, and thank you indeed. Chairman Udu Local Government Area in Delta States, Mr. Vincent Oyibode, thank you indeed for your thoughts on the program.
Thank you for featuring me.
Well, we have to leave it here because we are out of time, but that's our 7 here on Lunchtime Politics. On behalf of the production team and everyone here, I am Kelly Egiga. Good afternoon.